What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and I just finished watching the new PlayStation State of Play, and I'm pretty disappointed. Now, a lot of people on the internet are saying it's the worst state of play of all time, or that it was a catastrophe for the PS5. I wouldn't quite go that far. It was disappointing. Some of the trailers were confusingly bad, but I feel like the bright points were at least halfway decent. But let's actually go through the games that were shown, and let me just kind of digest this together with you guys. All right, let's do this. Hi, I'm DreamcastGuy, and this is sort of just a breakdown of what we witnessed because I'm kind of just lost. More than anything else, this state of play, there is definitely a difference from PlayStation State of Plays versus a PlayStation Showcase. Like typically when Sony is trying to announce something major like a new console or their big exclusives, they include that in a showcase. Whereas State of Plays, these are typically the tinier events. It's times where they focus a specific game or they talk about projects that are more indie or second party. But even for a State of Play, this was a strange one. By the way, I'm DreamcastGuy. Don't know if I said that. Be sure to subscribe. I'm kind of in a fugue state. I'm kind of confused by this because I expected more. Now, let's begin. We're going to go through this chronologically. I found these tweets that kind of list it all out. The entire presentation was 35 minutes long, and there wasn't a lot of preamble, but almost half of it was dedicated to Concord. There is a studio called Firesprite that was purchased by PlayStation that's supposed to be the next big money maker. It's obvious that PlayStation is literally betting millions of dollars on their success, and it turned out that this cool CGI trailer that they begin with, it really has nothing to do with the game itself. They ended up showing gameplay for it. This is a squad-based shooter that very much feels like Valorant. It's going to have like superhero powers and objective-based gameplay and trying to kill the enemy team while performing heists. Now, I will say that to be nice to it, I do think the graphics are good. Like visually, this art palette, this presentation, it does look good, but I'm not really the core demographic. I am not the audience for it. So I will admit that stuff like this, a lot of live service games, to me, I just don't care. Anything these days that does have a battle pass and like premium cosmetics and stuff, just not really my cup of tea. But also it's the fact that this game looks so graphically great. The fact that it's just going to be a online shooter, that these characters aren't really going to have storylines beyond like cutscenes occasionally released like Overwatch does, is a bit of a disappointment. So, next up, they said, hey, God of War is coming to PC. Ragnarok is a 10 out of 10 experience. I absolutely loved it. So the fact that it's coming and it's going to have ultra-wide support, uncapped frame rates. I mean, if you have not already played God of War Ragnarok, I think PC gamers are going to eat that up and probably mod The Simpsons into it day one. Okay, here was probably... There were like three big surprises for this event that we're going to talk about all three of them, but one of them was definitely Dynasty Warrior's Origins. Now, I like some Dynasty Warriors games. I'm not the biggest fanatic for the franchise, but this one actually looks great. My problem with a lot of these games, which are called Musus, is that lack of weightiness, is the fact that since I'm literally mowing down sometimes hundreds of thousands of people in a singular battle, no particular encounter ever seems to have that real weight. It doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything other than blindly tapping buttons. This actually seems to convey some interesting force to it. I'm definitely playing this, but unfortunately not coming out till next year and not even a release window. So this may be like a full year away, like summer 2025. This one, I have no idea what Infinity Nikki, it looks like you have a cat photographer. I'm not the, whatever this is. No, thank you. Ballad of Antara. Now, this one looked very strange because it looked so Dark Soulsy. Like it looked like it just had such an interesting, like dark aesthetic, but a lot of these games we really don't know enough about them. I'm glad they showed more gameplay than they typically do. Tons of trailers, tons of CGI, tons of stuff that doesn't actually convey what the game is about only frustrates me. So the fact that this time they are showing gameplay, even if we don't have all the contextual clues to figure it out, I'm glad with a lot of what the State of Play presented. But this is one of the games that I think did actually look like, I hope it gets some attention, because the first reactions to it, it does look pretty good. Then we got a bunch of PSVR games. I do not own a PlayStation VR2. I'm never going to own a PSVR2 unless, I don't know, for some reason I got one for free, but even then I probably wouldn't play very much. As much as this looks like Skyrim VR, not my cup of tea. This, however, I do love Alien a lot. The gameplay was super dark. Yeah, look how good these graphics are. Oh, God. When we could actually see stuff, though, Alien Rogue Incursion does seem pretty cool. If this ends up coming to PC, I'll play it then. I do have a PC headset. I'm just not spending $600 for a PSVR2 headset. But man, the idea of being locked in a ship with a VR headset, that is definitely my cup of tea. Now, next up, Marvel Rivals. So it's funny that we got two separate like games as a service, sort of live service, co-op shooter things in a single presentation. I'm not probably going to play Marvel Rivals, but the initial leaks about this, apparently they've already been doing some secret beta tests, and the people who have been playing it have said it's actually fantastic. They've said that not only is it well balanced and fun, but all the different heroes have wildly different powers. In the trailer, they showed a bunch of destructible environments. Like they collapsed this, what do they call this? Pagoda? I forget what they call these, bent roof, things like that. That was cool. The idea of being able to, in a round, permanently damage structures is something I'm not sure we've seen before, but I'm definitely down for the concept. I want to see how it actually works. That is coming out here in not too long, coming out in July. I'm definitely going to check that out. I mean, I am enough of a Spider fan that I'll try out Venom. I'll try out Peter Parker. Hopefully this doesn't cost like $50 to start. Don't make the Overwatch mistake. Give us a chance to try it for free. At least a couple characters. Maybe I'll get into that. Okay, Where Winds Meet. This looked crazy cool. Now, technically this got revealed initially about 2 years ago, but the first teaser trailers, we couldn't tell what this is about. Apparently it's going to be sort of like an open world Dark Souls. Think of it as like Chinese Elden Ring. It's based more on Chinese mythology. And honestly, I was not expecting it to have like big, grandiose monsters and wild parries and stuff. It has a very Sekiro vibe to it in that it does look like you're able to counteract some crazy super attacks and stuff. As a fan of Dark Souls, this has my full attention. But now, let me talk about two that definitely disappointed me, which is the Until Dawn remake, which, to be honest, almost looks kind of worse. Like, everybody looks so funky. Why is this coming to PlayStation 5? Like, something about this has a deep, uncanny valley vibe to it that I am strongly off-put by, and that's also how I felt about the Silent Hill 2 remake. Now, I am a Silent Hill nutcase. I've actually had a lot of videos talking about Silent Hill. I'm even wearing my Silent Hill 2 shirt right now. Konami sent me a shirt because I'm such a big fan of this specifically. Something about the faces, the animation, something about this doesn't look quite right. Now, technically, in 10 minutes, as I record this video, they're about to have like a special presentation talking about all the things that are happening in Silent Hill. So I'm going to do a video reacting to that. It's called the Silent Hill Transmission. I hope we see a lot more gameplay. I almost kind of hope this gets a demo to kind of, I don't know, let people try it, because the initial little bits of this, I'm worried. I like a lot of what Bloober Team does more than the average person. This studio gets a lot of hate, but something about this looks a little bit off. Path of Exile 2, I'm not going to bore you about this. I'm obsessed with freaking Diablo. You got my Diablo tattoo and stuff. And if you haven't played it, Path of Exile is basically like Diablo 2, but with modern day graphics. It's extra hard. It's got lots more gearing, lots of monster slaying. So if you're a fan of Diablo, this is essentially going to be like a more hardcore version of Diablo 4. I am definitely going to play this. They also announced it's going to have cross-play and cross-progression, so I definitely am going to play it probably both on my PS5 and on my PC, depending on which friend group is doing what. But this is one of the two games that also blew my mind. Monster Hunter Wilds. Holy heck, Capcom does not miss. The fact that this game, it is an open world Monster Hunter that looks like it's going to have actual weather effects, even bigger monsters. It looks like you're going to be able to possibly like start a fight and then come back. Again, destructible environments. It showed them chopping off like stalactites and stuff to fall and crush things. This seems incredible. Capcom are becoming my literal favorite studio. Like, everything they put out is bonkers perfecto. I am super ready for this, but let's talk about the last big surprise. And for me, this was the closeout big reveal. This is like the game that was supposed to blow our minds. And for me, it definitely worked. A new AstroBot game by Team Asobi. I've liked the previous AstroBot games, but man, this looks better. It looks like it has more puzzle solving and stuff. But what's crazy is that every level seemed to have a 100% different aesthetic, different vibe. Every game's got different powers, backpacks, goofiness. It's got all sorts of cameos from games like we saw them. This is Ico. We saw a reference to God of War. This is Journey. We saw them referencing freaking Shadow of the Colossus. This looks so cool. There was levels where he becomes giant, or he's jet skiing or flying planes. Like, I think that AstroBot is going to end up being that sleeper hit of the year. You know, for every studio, for every game console maker, they have like that one game comes out that kind of slips through the cracks. I hope this gets bought. I hope this gets attention, because to me, this looks great, and it's coming out September 6th, 2024. That's awesome. But how do I feel about it overall? I would give this a 6 out of 10. Like, the state of play entirely, I'd give a 6 out of 10. I think the good stuff was good, but there just wasn't enough good stuff. And I am a bit nervous about Until Dawn Remake as a fan of it. And I just think that the Silent Hill 2 remake, I'm getting a bit worried about that. But how do you guys feel about this? Was it at least halfway decent? Did you tune into my live stream? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, you know, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.